This is the Velotric Breeze, and it prioritizes one thing that I think a lot of people overlook when they're shopping for an electric bike, especially those new to electric bikes, and that is weight. The Breeze weighs in at 48 pounds. But not only that, it features a bunch of other small features that make it unique, like the ability to swap between a torque sensor or a cadence sensor. You can also adjust the speed limits all the way down to 12 miles per hour. That's while pedaling or while using the throttle. And there's a bunch of other small things that make this bike really accessible. It even has some smart features. I'm getting ahead of myself though. In this review, first we'll walk through all the components. Then we'll get into some first-person riding footage, see how the bike performs, and finally some third-person riding footage where I'll give you the pros and cons and also compare it to Velotric's Discover 2. Before all that, let's take a closer look. Now, who is Velotric? Well, they're a brand that has perhaps grown the fastest of some of the newer companies. They partner with over 1,000 bike shops across the United States and just generally are making some interesting choices with their electric bikes to make them stand out. And the Breeze is no different. Let's talk price. The Breeze is priced at $17.99, though you can likely save on that price by using our code down in the description. Also, using our link is a free and easy way to support the channel, or just scan the QR code on your screen to learn more. Thank you so much for your support. It makes videos like this one possible. Now first, any accessible electric bike has to have a low standover height, right here around 15 inches. That makes it very easy to get your leg over. I love that the bike is offered in 2 different sizes, size regular for riders 4'11" up to 5'8", or size large, that's what you're looking at, riders 5'6" up to 6'4". As a 6' tall rider, I can still get full leg extension, and yes, my 5'5" wife can also ride this bike. Already mentioned weight, 48 pounds. Yes, that makes it easy to maneuver. It doesn't feel as tippy, especially if you're new to electric bikes, but even more if you're putting it on a bike rack, it's that much easier. And you can remove the battery to make it even lighter. Total weight capacity is 330 pounds, and Velotric likes to go a little crazy with colors, meaning they offer a lot of them. You can get this bike in Violet Haze, Ocean Mist, Classic Scarlet, which we have here, Satin White, and Slate Gray. Next, let's talk components. For brakes, we have Tektro hydraulic disc brakes. Those are paired with 180mm rotors. Tires are from Kenda. They're 27.5 by 2.2 inches wide. Of course, street tread. The wheel attaches with a through axle for increased strength. Also makes assembly pretty easy. The rigid front fork helps keep the weight down. We have nice internal cable routing. And while you can add fenders, they don't come with the bike. Same goes with the rear rack as well. Velotric badge on the front. 4-bolt pattern for mounting their front basket. Nice cable wrap job, though the right side is a little bit long here. The 400 lumen front light runs off the main battery and attaches to the stem plate. The rear lights are built right into the frame, and yes, they are brake actuated. And we have turn signals there as well. Other comfort features include these swept back handlebars, put you in a nice upright riding position. That is paired with an adjustable stem. Right now it's between 30 and 40 degrees, but you can go up to 60. And so the riding position is just more conducive to taking some stress off of the joints perhaps, or if you go on longer rides, you're just going to be comfortable for longer. Moving to the handlebars, we have matching Tektro hydraulic disc brake levers, and there's motor cutoffs as well. As soon as you hit the brakes, it will cut power to the motor. We have locking ergonomic rubber grips, a left-hand thumb throttle, and on the right, a bell. Shimano's 8-speed trigger shifter, and then Velotric's 7-button control pad, and then yes, tucked below it is a USB-C port for charging up your device. Let's jump into the large center-mounted display. Power button on top, and I just love it's so easy to read this display. So in the top left-hand corner, we have battery percentage. There's a bunch of indicators up here. This one is for the auto lights being turned on. You can turn them on manually by holding pedal assist up. Indicator right here. You can engage walk mode by holding pedal assist down. You do need to be in a pedal assist level. and indicator at the top of the screen. Now there's 15 levels of pedal assist. First, you select whether you want to be in eco, trail, or boost. That's done with this bottom button, but then you can hit up and down to select whether you want to be in pedal assist level 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. You have speed front and center, whether you're using the torque sensor or the cadence sensor. At the bottom, trip distance, trip time. Hitting the M button will cycle through different information over to average speed, max speed, calories, and CO2 saved, odometer and total time, motor temp and controller temp, and back to trip distance. Turn signals are turned on with the left and right button, and indicators on the screen, and also a beeping to let you know that they're on. Really like that feature. When you're riding, you can hold down M, and that will quick swap between the torque sensor and the cadence sensor. Next, let's go into the advanced settings, and that's done by holding M when the bike is still. First, you can change the speed limit, and yes, you can change the top speed for while you're pedaling or while using the throttle. It goes all the way down to 12 miles per hour and up to 28. And yes, technically, you can change the throttle above 20 miles per hour. So this can be customized to a class 1, 2, or 3 electric bike. Next, you can swap between the sensors, torque or cadence. We'll talk about that a lot in the upcoming first-person riding footage. You can clear your trip data, set screen brightness, change your riding mode. That's the eco, trail, or boost, though you're probably going to do it from the main screen. You can change the rear light mode, which is cool. There's 3 different settings. And so what's cool in here is while you're riding, you can set the rear lights to flash. We'll set them to flash while I'm braking. And that's how that looks. Love the customization. Next, you can change whether you want the lights to turn on automatically when it's dark. There's auto power off. Throttle limited, I'll talk about that in the first person riding footage. And it can be on or off for torque or cadence mode. This bike, yes, has cruise control. We'll turn that on so I can show it off. The turn signal clicking noise that you heard can be turned off. And yes, this has Apple Find My, so if you're an iPhone user, you're in luck. I'm an Android user, but also it connects to Apple Health. You can set units, sensor calibration, and finally version info. Let's connect to app. So I'll open my Velotric app here. We'll hit the M button on the display and I'll get a QR code. I'll add a new bike. This is the Breeze 1. Scan the QR code. We'll call this the Ebike Escape Breeze. And so the app gives you a lot of the same functionality as the display. If I go into bike settings, eco, trail, and boost mode, pedal assist levels, screen brightness, it's maybe a little bit easier to change the speed limits. But if your bike needs a firmware update, that's where you do it right here. And it looks like I do need an update. And so what's cool is Velotric can, in theory, make this bike better over time. They did that with the Discover 2, allowing you to swap between the torque sensor and the cadence sensor. That actually came after the initial release of the bike. And finally, you can tap start riding and you can track a ride and you can see all the rides that you've done in the past. It's actually a very well-designed app and it works quite well. And this is where you would see your recorded rides. And so that is the Velotric app. Next, let's talk about the battery. First, it's top load, making it super easy to remove and put back in. And another small thing, it's paint matched to your bike. Keyhole is on the right side with these yellow keys. Charger port is the same one whether you're charging on or off the bike. Has a rubber cover. To remove the battery, I'll turn the keys to the right. It'll pop up and I can remove it. The battery is 48 volt, 13.4 amp hours or 627 watt hours. The battery is UL2271 certified. The entire bike's electronics are UL2849. And even more than that, the battery is IPX7 rated, which means I can dunk it in water. Not sure why I'd want to, but then dry it off and the battery will work just fine. And the bike is IPX6 rated. Velotric's really leading the way in IPX ratings. There's a button at the bottom that gives you an idea of current capacity. And maybe if you're looking to protect your battery, you can pick up one of our small battery bags at shop.ebikeescape.com. Thank you so much for your support. To put the battery back in, terminals first, and simply snap into place. And you can remove the keys. The bike comes with a 3 amp charger, which means between 4 and 5 hours to charge it from empty. You get a helpful owner's manual and stickers so you can correctly classify your electric bike, and a nice tool bag as well. All your Allens you need, as well as a screwdriver and wrench. There's Velotric's UL sticker, Velotric branding here, the size of the bike, Breeze on the drive side. You get 2 mounting points for a bottle cage. Maybe you want to pick up the best one on the market that's fully adjustable, or maybe you want to put a folding lock there as well. The seat is Velotric, designed by Stella Royale. It says Comfort Max. I would say it's about average comfort. Cables run beneath the frame here. Rear mounted kickstand. The motor is 750 watts, peaking at 1,150 watts, 65 Newton meters of torque. Of course, engaged with a torque sensor or a cadence sensor. The derailleur is Shimano Altus, super common on many electric bikes. Gearing in the rear is 11 to 32 teeth, again, 8 speeds. There's a clear chainstay protector, and up front, a 46 tooth narrow wide chainring, single-sided, and you get plastic pedals. With that, that's everything you need to know about the components on the Breeze. Let's get into some first-person riding footage, and I'll walk you through all the ways you can customize the way this bike rides. All right, I'm going to try to pack everything into this first-person riding footage as efficiently as I can, which is easier said than done because there's a lot to talk about. But first, Throttle-Only. This bike ships as a Class 2 electric bike, top speed of 20 miles per hour, whether you're pedaling or using the left-hand thumb throttle. And I have it in Boost Pedal Assist Level 5. That's going to give us the most power from the motor. We'll hit 20 the fastest. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, Throttle-Only. Pretty gentle takeoff, but getting up to speed here pretty quickly though. And 19, there's 20 miles an hour. A little bit windy today, so keep that in mind as well. And next, one of the interesting things is, yes, you can change the speed limit while you're pedaling or the throttle, and yes, it does go up to 28 miles per hour. It's not really an e-bike then technically, but I'll show it off. You of course want to make sure that you're following all your local laws and regulations. But let's see just how fast this 750 watt motor can take us. All right, Throttle-Only up to 28. We'll see how it does. Not going against the wind now. All right, there's 13, 17. There we hit 20, 22. Still climbing, 26. 27, and there's 28, and it was still climbing. The display, it was reading almost 29 miles an hour, which is similar to what I saw on the Nomad 2. It did just continue to creep past the 28 mile per hour mark. And yes, we did test out these Tektro hydraulic disc brakes. No complaints, they stop you great. Happy to see these. All right, and next I want to talk about throttle limited, which I mentioned earlier. So right now I have throttle limited in cadence mode. I'm in Eco Pedal Assist Level 1. And what this is going to do, it's going to top me out at a specific speed, right around 14 miles an hour, because I have the throttle limited turned on. So still getting a little bit of power, and there's 14 miles an hour. The power bar continues to go down here, and it's just holding me at 14 miles an hour. So that's with throttle limited turned on. Next, I'm going to sensor swap into torque sensor, where I have throttle limited turned off. And so now what's going to happen in Eco Pedal Assist Level 1, I'm not limited at all. As you can see, I'm already at 16, 17. We're going to hit 20 miles per hour in Eco Pedal Assist Level 1. So that is throttle limited. Next, let's talk about cruise control. Yes, this bike has it. And the way you turn it on is you hold the bottom button right here, and you have to be going at least 5 miles an hour. Now, you could technically, I guess, hold the throttle and push that button at the same time, just a little tricky, maybe with both fingers. But I think for most people, you're going to be at least pedaling a little bit, get up over 5 miles an hour, and I'll hold that button on, and then I can stop pedaling. There's a little indicator icon in the top middle of the screen, and that is telling me that cruise control is turned on. So I can pedal alongside this if I wanted to, and I might go slightly faster, 10 miles an hour, but the motor isn't helping me because As soon as I stop pedaling, it wants to keep me at that 9 mile per hour mark. It's cruise control. So there are 4 ways to disengage it. I will put those on the screen, one obviously being the brakes. Okay, next we have to talk about cadence versus torque. And what's awesome about this bike is you don't need to decide whether you want a cadence sensor electric bike or a torque sensor electric bike. You can have both. So we'll start off in cadence mode. I think that's the easier one to understand. And keep in mind, I do have it limited to 20 miles per hour because I want to talk about that experience. And then yes, we'll go crazy and override it to 28 as a class 3 electric bike. Now what a cadence sensor does is as long as you're spinning your legs, as long as you're pedaling, no matter how hard, it's going to give you power from the motor. Of course, depending on the 15 levels of pedal assist that you're in, but you can just barely spin your legs and get power from the motor. That compares to a torque sensor, which measures how hard you're pushing on the pedals and kind of amplifies it. And there is one big difference that I think people need to understand, especially on this bike, between the cadence and torque sensor, as you'll see. All right, so I have it in first gear. I'm going to start in Eco Pedal Assist Level 1. I'll go through those quite quickly, and then we're actually going to skip trail because there's some overlap. And I think what people want to see is the lower end and then maybe the higher end in boost mode. So here we go. Eco Pedal Assist Level 1, nice and easy, barely putting in any effort. I would shift up to third gear so I can put some effort in. And it's going to get me to 9 miles an hour, it looks like. And I can see the motor bar going down. So this is speed limited, which means I can pedal all I want and I might go slightly faster, but I'm not getting motor power. So keep that in mind. Let's go into Pedal Assist Level 3. We'll shift up, fifth gear, nice and easy, spinning the legs, 14 miles an hour, and I'll shift up to sixth gear. We will actually hit 20 miles per hour in Eco Pedal Assist Level 5, as you'll see. So around 15 miles an hour in Pedal Assist Level 3, and up to Pedal Assist Level 5 in Eco, and super easy. You could provide effort if you wanted to, or you could provide no effort. Totally up to you. If you want to feel superhuman, maybe you want to use the cadence sensor, and we are hitting 20 miles per hour. So that's an Eco. Now the biggest thing with boost, you're just going to get a little bit more power from the motor, as you'll see. And we'll start from a stop so we can get an idea of the acceleration as well. Boost Pedal Assist Level 1. And yeah, just quickly getting to 9 miles an hour and then the motor's completely stopping. So very similar experience, it's just that power bar. You're just getting more power from the motor. Let's go into Pedal Assist Level 3. Again, I'm assuming 15 miles an hour. And there we go, there's 15 miles an hour, motor stop. And boost Pedal Assist Level 5. Certainly feel a lot more acceleration there, wanting to get us to 20 quickly, not unexpected. And there's 20 miles an hour. Now, what I like to tell people with this bike, the Discover 2 as well as the new Nomad 2, is just pick Eco, Trail, or Boost, and then pick what pedal assist level you want to use within that. You don't need to use all 15. Just kind of select whether you prefer Eco, Trail, or Boost. Let's go into torque sensor mode. We'll go back down to Eco, and yes, we'll just sensor swap here. And now it says torque sensor just by holding that M button. So here we go with the torque sensor. Remember, how much power I get from the motor depends on how much power I'm putting into my legs. And what I like is the torque sensor just feels like a much more gentle takeoff. It's not trying to get you to a certain speed. I mean, if you're a confident rider, it's probably not a big deal, but it's something I do appreciate about this torque sensor. And nice and easy. I mean, we're not even hitting that 9 miles an hour. Just gently spinning my legs. Let's shift up into third gear. And if I put in a little bit more power, of course, we're going to go a little bit faster. And you can kind of tell by how much power is going to the motor. Shift up to fourth gear. So putting in a moderate amount of effort, going about 13 miles an hour and just getting gentle assistance from the motor. All right, so next, let's go into Eco Pedal Assist Level 3. So it's going to be much easier to kind of control and modulate your speed a little bit more with the torque sensor, depending on how much pedal pressure you're putting in. So going about 10 miles an hour and a little bit more effort, going into the wind, 12, 13, shift up to fifth gear, All right, and getting up to around 15 miles an hour or so. All right, next, Eco pedal assist level 5. We'll see if I can get to the 20 mile an hour mark. So nice and gently, 13 miles an hour. And a little bit more power, shift up to 6th gear, so it's a little bit easier for me to put more pressure on. And there's 17 miles an hour. And yeah, I can hit 20 miles an hour, but certainly working for it more than I would if I was in boost. So we'll skip trail again and go into boost. Pedal assist level 1. And yeah, can definitely feel more responsiveness from the motor. And it's just a little bit easier to hit a higher speed now. Cruising at 11 miles an hour in boost pedal assist level 1. Let's put in a little bit more power here. Let's go up to pedal assist level 3. Shift up to 6th gear. That's of 8, remember. So pretty easy to cruise around 17 miles an hour. And I know I can hit 20, yeah. The responsiveness of the motor, I can just feel it wanting to give me more power there. All right, and boost pedal assist level 5. I'll start in 3rd gear and ramping up to speed pretty quickly. 5th gear, cruising at 14, 15 miles an hour. 16, 6th gear. This is definitely an amount of power I could put in for a long period of time. And then a little bit more here. Not a ton of effort, but getting up to 20 miles an hour. All right, but this is class 3 capable. Let's set it to 28 miles an hour. All right, we're going to start in cadence mode up to 28 miles per hour because it's going to be easier to hold me there. I'm not going to have to put in too much leg power. And we're starting right in boost, given we're testing out top speed. And in pedal assist level 1 gives me a bunch of power and then really scales it back because it's going to hold me at 13, 14 miles an hour. But let's go into pedal assist level 5. Let's get up to speed here. Already have it in 8th gear and just spinning my legs, not putting much effort at all on my legs. I could be if I wanted to. And the cadence would be a little faster than I'd prefer, but you're not ghost pedaling. And there's 28 miles an hour. And then the speed continues to creep up. There's 29 on the display and on the GPS. So yeah, it can get you up to those speeds. All right, and let's sensor swap into torque sensor, and I want to feel all the acceleration. So we're gonna start in boost pedal assist level 5, 2nd gear, and I'll shift up right away. There's 18. There's 7th gear. Not putting in a ton of effort. So you can cruise with the torque sensor. Let's go to 8th gear. You can cruise with the torque sensor 23, 24 miles an hour very easily. And then, yeah, if I put in more power from my legs, that's how we're gonna get to 28 here. And yeah, the cadence really isn't too bad, though this is meant for more of a cruising electric bike. Speaking of, let's talk about ergonomics quickly. Love the swept back handlebars, love the adjustable stem. It's just a great bike that has tons of customization depending on how you want to ride. I will say the seat is just okay. I personally would put a suspension seat post on a bike like this that lacks a suspension front fork. Of course, that's done due to weight. All right, so that is how the bike performed on flat ground. Let's see the biggest hill I can find here in Florida. And I want to talk about some things to think about and some of the unique things that the SensorSwap allows you to do, particularly on hills. All right, so we have a bridge here, biggest hill here in Florida, and I know after riding hundreds of e-bikes that this motor is going to have no problem on a vast majority of hills, unless you live in the mountains, basically. So we are cruising up here and we're going 20 miles an hour. Given it's a 750 watt motor that's peaking over 1,000 watts, I mean, it's holding us at 22. This is even better than what the Nomad 2 did up this hill, and we're actually going to catch up to these bikers here. Now they're actually pedaling, I was doing throttle alone. I had high expectations for the motor, but that was even better than expected. Probably the lighter weight is working in the bike's favor. Also, I'm a lighter weight rider at around 140 or so pounds. And yeah, there's the elevation gain, if you can see it. But what I really wanted to talk about, because I figured it was going to have no problem on this hill, is going up the hill while pedaling. So let's do that. All right, so we are going to start off and we're going to go in boost mode with the torque sensor, and I'm going to shift down. So a lot of the time with torque sensor electric bikes on super steep inclines, it can be pretty difficult to provide extra power, to get more power from the motor. Now there's two ways to alleviate that if that's a problem you have, if you're going up a huge incline. The one is to just hold the throttle. You can still pedal alongside the bike if you want to, but that just guarantees you're getting max output from the motor. And actually, in boost pedal assist level 5, I'm in 4th gear right now. I'm not getting a ton of power from the motor, but this is a good demonstration of the sensor swap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the M button, and we are going to be now in boost pedal assist level 5 cadence sensor. And now I'm just climbing. I'm getting a ton of power from the motor. The power meter on the display is just pinged towards the right, and you can see that the speed is climbing as well. So that's a great use case, and also just really cool that they allow you to basically hot swap it while you're riding. Of course, no problem if you always want to use the cadence sensor or always use the torque sensor, but at least you have that option if you need it. And just a quick plug for our online store, shop.ebikescape.com. We're going to be dropping these cell phone mounts very shortly. I've been testing it out extensively. Holds my thick phone very well. Fully adjustable, and unlike some of those other ones that just screw on tight, this has a second lever that clamps even tighter, so you can ensure your phone's not going anywhere. So pick one up at shop.ebikescape.com. Help support the channel. Thank you so much for your support. All right, with that, let's get into some third-person riding footage. I'll give you my concluding thoughts on the Velotric Breeze 1. The market has been asking for more lightweight e-bikes, and the Breeze 1 steps up nicely. This isn't one of those road-inspired urban e-bikes, it's a cruiser or commuter e-bike, which makes it a solid pick for all kinds of riders and situations. I really think it nails what people are looking for. If you're new to e-bikes, I'll reiterate it. Weight makes a difference. I've seen so many folks swap out heavier models for something lighter, so save yourself the hassle and start with the right e-bike for you. Priced at $17.99, the Velotric Breeze 1 is getting up there in price, and we'll break down some key points, plus compare it to their Discover 2 in a moment. First, let's talk about what it brings. Lightweight e-bikes often cut corners on motor power and battery size to shave weight, but the Breeze 1 strikes a nice balance. The motor has plenty of power, as I demonstrated, and it still is a 48-volt system. The battery is just a touch below average, so you're not giving up as much as you might expect for a lighter weight e-bike at 48 pounds. They say 70 miles of range. I think most riders will see 30 to 60 miles. You'll get more with the torque sensor, less with the cadence sensor, especially if you're pushing the speed. Plus, of course, throttle usage will play a significant role. The cadence sensor engages fast, about a quarter turn, and the torque sensor keeps things smooth if you're looking for a more natural riding experience. I also think it's more accessible, especially from a stop. The adjustable stem and swept-back handlebars are great inclusions. With two frame sizes, it works for shorter and taller riders alike. That's not always a given, and the step-through frame makes it super easy to get on. Velotric's displays are big and simple to use, honestly some of the best out there that I've tested. The 7-button control pad gives you a lot to play with, but it's not overwhelming once you know what they all do. You also have access to the app if you prefer, and the app is very well done. Apple users get Find My, which I'm jealous of as an Android user. Functionality-wise, there just aren't many e-bikes that allow you to tweak this many things within the display. And I'm a huge fan of additional features, especially if that allows you to make the bike more accessible. One small thing, like the Velotric Nomad 2, I wish the top speed locked at 28 miles per hour when you set it that way in the display. Maybe an over-the-air update can fix that down the line. Next, key considerations. To keep the weight down, they've skipped some extras. No front suspension, which makes sense for an e-bike meant for paved paths, though I think a suspension seat post like they did with the Nomad 2 would have been a great addition. Though yes, you can just go to shop.ebikeescape.com and pick up our suspension seat post. It's worth it for the comfort. And then yes, no accessories, no rear rack or fenders. That saves weight. But if you need them, it will cost extra. Which brings me to my next topic, the Velotric Breeze 1 versus the Velotric Discover 2. Simple breakdown, if you think at all weight is a priority, go with the Breeze 1. If you want a bike that's fully loaded, comfier seat, slightly torquier motor, slightly bigger battery, front suspension, as well as a rear rack, then the Discover 2 should be your pick. And all of those extras don't add much to the price if weight isn't a deal breaker. And remember, you can save by using our discount code in the description. Also, using our affiliate link is a free way for you to directly support the channel. Thank you so much for your support. I'd love to hear what you think both about the Breeze. Are there any additional features you'd like to see? And what would you choose, the Breeze 1 or the Discover 2? It's great having two options that have some overlap of use case so riders can choose what matters most to them. The Breeze 1 brings all the cool Velotric features we've come to expect, and bike shop support is a bonus if you happen to live near a dealer. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.